Congress is back in session. President Obama is planning his State of the Union address, so everyone is trying to think about what should be the priorities for our government going forward in this new year, 2014. Well, we just asked the American public that question, gave them a list, said, what are your priorities among all of these items? And we also asked Americans, how dissatisfied are you with how these items are going at the moment? And that allows us to look at this in a little different way. Let's look first at what I would call the clear priorities for government. These are things that Americans say should be important and also things that Americans are not very satisfied with. So in other words, that's a clear mandate to get going on these. The economy's the first of these. As you see there, it's both very high in importance and high in dissatisfaction, so a clear emphasis point for Congress and the President. Other items in this list include health care, education, poverty and homelessness, and Social Security and Medicare. Now, there's another group that I would say keep up the good work on. These are items that Americans think should have high priorities, but at the moment they're pretty satisfied with them. So in other words, the government's doing a good job on these, keep it up. Those would include notably terrorism and military and defense. Both high priorities, but both things American publics right now think is going pretty well at the moment. Now there's some items that I think should be put on the back burner. These are items that Americans are not very satisfied with, yet at the same time are not given a high priority by the average American. This would include, most importantly, surveillance, people peeking into our daily lives. This is something that Americans are not at all satisfied with. However, and this is what's interesting, they do not give it a high priority for Congress and the President. So they say it's an issue, but not something that the government should be spending all that time on. Other things in this quadrant are abortion. Americans aren't very satisfied with abortion, but say that's not a really high priority for government. Other things include things like energy, immigration. All of these are in this quadrant where Americans say not very satisfied, but not high priorities. Finally, there are some items where Americans say, these are things that I'm pretty satisfied with, and also the government shouldn't get involved in. That would include relations between gays and lesbians, that would include racial issues, and that would include the environment. Americans on a relative basis pretty happy with those, and also say they shouldn't be a high priority for Congress and the government. That's an update for you on priorities for what's going on here in the nation's capital. I'm Dr. Frank Newport, Gallup Editor-in-Chief.